Hello everyone and welcome back. Yes, your ears and eyes do not deceive you. We are back in Kerbal Space Program 2. It's not Kerbal Space Program 2, it's Kerbal Space Program 1 with the amazing Parallax 2.0 mod, which released earlier this week. And my goodness, look at it. I had to do a big cinematic flyover here to really showcase the amazing new features on the surface of not just Kerbin, but every other celestial body in the game, which we're going to kind of explore in today's video. Here is the rocket. I decided not to bother with a time-lapse for this because I wanted the focus of this video to be... Wait for it. There we are. Just waiting for the little launch clamp sound effect to play. I wanted the focus of this video to be the incredibleness that is the Parallax mod. I mean, look at that. I mean, the ground is now rapidly disappearing away beneath us, but you can kind of see all those trees. That's not part of like stock KSP. I mean, stock KSP does have ground scatter and trees and stuff, but nowhere near to this density or, in my opinion, graphic fidelity. And that's all thanks to the Parallax mod. So if you want to download it, I'm going to put a link in the description. Make sure you read the instructions because you need there's a couple of dependencies like Copernicus and well, that's it actually, but you need to download that. So click the links in the description, go support the mod. It's brilliant. And yes, and also, this is a bit of a comeback video, isn't it, really? I've not made a Kerbal Space Program video now for quite some time. And my goodness, guys, it is not... Oh, wow, look at the... Did you see the island with the island runway? You can rewind the video. I can't be bothered to edit. It's been a long day. But, yes, this is a bit of a comeback video. Guys, it's not been... I've not been not uploading Kerbal Space Program content out of a, unwillingness to. Just so much stuff has been happening in my life. It's been pretty chaotic. If you follow my second channel, which you all definitely should, go subscribe to that. I uploaded a bicycle race time-lapse where I entered the Cornish Alpine Challenge mountain bike race. I uploaded that on a video on my second channel, and I kind of already talked about this a little bit, but most of you statistically didn't watch that video, so I'm going to go ahead and recap it here. Where have I been this past month or so? Well, for those of you who... This is an interesting segue, actually. This rocket, some of you might recognize it from my real-time Mun mission video, or slash live stream, where I went to the Mun without time warp. It took about 20 hours in total. It was pretty cool. You can check that out on my channel if you want to. But regardless, yes. If you remember, the beginning of that stream wasn't the smoothest. It started off with me and some of my Discord staff all saying, guys, my computer keeps on blue screen of deathing and I can't seem to figure out why. None of it makes any sense, but we think we figured it out. I don't even remember what I did now. This was like a couple of months ago. I think I unplugged some stuff and then plugged it back in and checked, wiggled the bits around. It seemed to fix it. But then, shortly after my Martin Cedarpants collaboration, where I rescued him from the surface of Eve, the computer just became completely unstable. It was just blue screening completely randomly. At first, it was like once a day, it would just go to blue screen of death, and then it just got worse. It got to the point where literally I'd boot my computer up in safe mode, and within a second, the mouse cursor would freeze, blue screen, and the worst part was it was not generating any dump files. So normally when you get a blue screen of death on a Windows PC, the operating system creates some sort of file that tells you what caused the blue screen of death. And you can get third-party software like Blue Screen Viewer that give you a bit more of a detailed account of what happened, but my computer was doing none of this. And it was getting to the point where, like, I need a computer, right? Because this is sort of my job, right? Like, it's not my full-time job, but it is a, substantial source of my income nonetheless. So I need a PC to, run my YouTube channel. So I was getting pretty stressed. So I was literally pulling out all the stops. So luckily, I built my girlfriend Beth a pretty decent gaming PC for an event like this, where suddenly if my PC goes out of action, I have another one. So for like a couple of space this week, so I was editing on Beth's computer. But literally, I hot swapped her GPU. I took mine out, put hers in, didn't fix anything. Hot swapped the RAM, didn't do anything. I lit everything. I tried everything, including the PSU, which, let me tell you, was a right faff. So I took my old computer that I built in the beginning of 2016. It's in my attic at the moment. I took the power supply out of that. So I'm like, it's so random, the blue screen of death, that it just must be the PSU, right? So I took the PSU out of the computer that's in my attic. But the problem is, it's a different brand of PSU to the one that was in my blue screen of deathing computer. That was a Corsair PSU. The one in my attic was an EVGA. Now, for those that don't know, PSU cables like that are not are not compatible at all. So despite the fact they were both fully modular power supplies, I had to run new cables all around the outside of the PC just to get all the components connected up, and it took ages. If you follow me on Instagram, there's a picture on my Instagram, another self-promotion, click the description, go subscribe or follow, whatever the Instagram term is, and there's a picture of like a PSU with cables running outside the case, going through a little hole next to the AIO cooler at the top. It was a nightmare, and guess what? It didn't fix anything. So I was like, right, that's it. I have tested everything possible under the sun, okay? I've swapped out the GPU, I've swapped out the RAM, I've swapped out the PSU at great emotional cost. What else did I do? I did something. I changed the hard drives. I got a new SSD, unplugged all my hard drives. I got a brand new SSD just to put a fresh install of Windows 10 on it in case it was a Windows 10 software issue. So by the end, it was a PC with a different set of RAM, a different GPU, a different power supply, a brand new, SSD with no other SSD or hard drive plugged in. The only variable that was never changed, for I guess obvious reasons, was the motherboard and CPU, because those you can't really hop swap those about. Beth's computer is an Intel based machine, mine was an AMD. They're not incompatible basically. So I did all of this, didn't fix anything. It was blue screening, but it worked it was all right for a bit. It worked for like 5 minutes, which is a long time considering how bad it got, and then it just died. It would just not stop blue screening. And it wasn't like the CPU overheating, because I came out the next day, still just dead within 2 seconds of booting. So I said, enough is enough. I'm going to buy a new motherboard and CPU. So I did. They arrived. I got a 5950X AMD and a new motherboard, a really good one. And didn't fix anything. The PC worked well for a week, like 5 days. I was so happy. I was like, it's fixed. And then literally just before going out to the pub to meet my friends on Friday, I was just watching a YouTube video and bang, blue screen of death. And I was just ready I was broken by that point. Okay. Let me tell you, it was V sad. All right. So that night, went out for a meal with Beth and a couple of our friends. And then we sat down in some pub just talking, and I just got my phone out. And I said, I'm just gonna get a new PC. I just can't do this anymore. Maybe it's the case. Maybe something in the case was shorting or what. But I was just like, something obviously fundamental with this. Something is fundamentally cursed about this computer. So we just need to get rid of it, start afresh. It's got a new PC now. And it's been about a month and a half. And it's going fine now. It's got the brand new motherboard and CPU in it that I had. It's got my old graphics card, my old RAM. New CPU, because I heard the 4000 series cards are a bit more watt heavy. Not properly announced yet, but I feel like I need a good graphics card for when KSP 2 comes out, or indeed now that I'm making Kerbal Space Program content with Parallax 2 installed, bringing us, it's like I timed it or edited it, but I didn't. It's just chaos, this commentary. I'm trying to get back into the flow of doing... I'm so used to doing the scripted stuff in Space this week. This is kind of novel to me. Here we are, just touching down, trying to do things nice and realistically, because I'm aware that these rocks, unlike old Parallax, or at least the original release of Parallax, it did change since then a little bit, but these rocks are actually solid entities. They're not just superficial, which is very like a lot of stock scatter in Kerbal Space Program, like the stuff on the ground that isn't from the Breaking Ground DLC. That's not, that's got no collision mesh basically, but these ones do. How cool is that? But that was why I was taking a very, very conservative approach to our landing. I was trying to go as slow as possible. And let's go check out these collision meshes in these rocks. Here we are. So guys, it turns out I'm a bit of an idiot and I didn't read the installation guide properly, or I didn't read the mod page properly. I don't know. Luckily, I kind of know Links because he made some stuff for me for my film Into the Warp. So I just DM'd him on Discord and he told me you got to go into your config file. So go to your game data folder, locate the Parallax folder, open the config file with Notepad or whatever editor of your choosing, and just Control F collision, and you're looking for enable collisions. That's not it. There it is. Enable collisions equals true for me, but by default that will say false. So you got to change it, and well, I've written flays there, but change it from false or flays to true. Press save, and then it should Hey! They don't have collision. So the really diddly small rocks won't have collision properly, but the big ones will. And that's the ideal way to play Parallax with the Parallax 2 mod. So there we are. But my goodness. Isn't that fun? So yeah, the whole PC blue screening thing. Now I feel like the video and the visuals of the mod can do the talking for you now, and I can just go back to Matt's rambling in Wonderland, whatever you want to call this commentary at this stage. But yes, whole blue screen of death thing. It was the icing on the cake, guys. It was the icing on the cake. So our fridge died. All right, that sucked. So we've got like a fridge freezer. I don't know. I know Americans have like the double door thing. I don't really know. But in the UK, it's quite common to get fridge freezer. So it's like 2 units stacked on top of one of each other. Effectively, there's a fridge on the top and a freezer on the bottom. And our fridge died. So I was like, this sucks. We've got to get a new fridge. So I ordered a fridge from Currys, which is one of the biggest electronic stores in the UK. Because we could just it's a brick and mortar store. If anything goes wrong, we can just go to the shop and sort it out there. I'm going to faff around going through an online retailer. And, they're a reputable company, right? Because they're a big company. If you're from the UK, you have heard of Currys. And probably their reputation, which we'll get into. So I arranged this. I decided, you know what? I'm 28. I just turned 28 recently. When I bought my old fridge, it was a very cheap one because I was scrounging. I just bought a house. I didn't have much money. But now I've got a bit more money. I'm like, let's just get a really nice fridge that will last us forever. Because a fridge is a fridge, right? They don't really die. They take like 50 years to go wrong, probably. I'm not a fridgeist, so I could be wrong. But I feel like they last a long time, right? So I thought, let's just get a really, really nice one. So we've got a Liebherr fridge. It was like £1,000 or something. So it's an expensive fridge, But I thought, it's nice. It's like metal. It'll last us. Let's just do it. And it arrived. And with fridges, I don't know if you guys know this. You're not supposed to turn them on for at least like 3 hours because they've got coolant in them that you need to kind of let settle. So we left it. And the way we had the fridge delivered by Currys is that they would take the old fridge away. Right, so they took our old fridge away. I took all the food out of the fridge. Obviously, they didn't take it full of food. I then loaded up the new fridge with all the food and stuff because, at the end of the day, the fridge is insulated, so I can put the food in there and it will keep it cool for a bit. And then the moment of truth came. We fired the baby up and nothing. It was dead. The fridge didn't work at all. So I was like, oh no. We now have all of our food rapidly defrosting in the freezer bit and in the fridge bit, just warming up, basically. We need to get this sorted right now. So we phoned Currys, and they said, we can't do anything because your fridge hasn't been delivered yet. And I'm like, it is. It's in my kitchen. I'm looking at it. And they said, no, but our systems are... We went back and forth for ages. They said they would try and contact the driver. They would put me on hold for 20 minutes, and then they would hang up. And we repeated this cycle ad nauseum. Both me and Beth were trying this. Oh, it didn't. So then she said, I put my foot and I said, right, that's it, Beth. We're just going to drive to the store and just talk to someone. Go to the store. And they say, yeah, your fridge hasn't been delivered yet. And I'm like, my brother in Christ, it is in my kitchen. I can show you a photo of the fridge in my kitchen. And they were like, oh, we can't do anything. You got to come back the next day because our systems won't update. So I'm like, all right, fine. We'll just have to take the hit of all that food lost then, I guess, which was a shame, but oh, whatever. I was in no position to argue with these suits at this point. So we go back to Currys the next day in the shop and they say, oh, yes, I can see that it's been delivered. However, this is an online only order, so we can't do anything about it. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, well, we can't arrange collection. And I was like, well, how am I going to can I have my old fridge back? And they said, no, your old fridge will have gone now. And I'm like, well, can you take this fridge away? And he goes, no, we'd have no evidence that you have it because we're the brick and mortar store. We don't sell this fridge. Currys only sell this fridge online, which I didn't realize at the time, guys. So I was like, okay, fine. So can I speak to someone that can put me through to someone? And he said, and I quote, no, you have to tweet at us. Pausing for dramatic effect. He says, you got to go on Twitter and tweet at Currys and then someone will respond to you. And I'm like, that's unacceptable. I want to speak to a manager because you're telling me I have to sit in your shop and message you on Twitter I'm in the shop. Can't you just deal with this? And so the manager came down. She said the same thing. And yeah, so then we had to sit in the shop, and we messaged them. It took them 45 minutes to message back. So we sent message again. another 40 minutes go by between messages. Like, this is ridiculous. So we went home. I was quite cross. Okay, I'm not proud to admit that, but I think I was justified, right? So we had to phone. We had to phone these call centers. I got my dad involved at this point. It was me and my dad and Beth all phoning the call center again and again and again, trying to defeat the script that the call center people stick to. Eventually, we agreed to get the fridge collected in 2 weeks. Fine. So I just went to another retailer. It was AO Appliances, which is an online-only store. But I'm like, at this point, I just want a good fridge. I tell you what, I phoned AO. And within a second, it was answered by someone. I said, I want to buy a fridge. And he goes, no worries. What fridge do you want to buy? So I said, this is the model of a fridge I want to buy. He goes, great. We'll deliver it next week. It arrived. And I said to them, like, I'm sorry. I know you're going to leave the fridge off for 3 hours, let the coolants, like, settle. But I have to know, I cannot go through this again. And they said, the delivery people said, oh, no, it's company policy that we cannot leave this fridge with you until we've verified that it works. And they turned it on. And guess what, guys? The fridge just turned on. And so AO, if you'd like to sponsor this channel, don't go to Curry's, guys. I'm still kind of speechless of what, you know what I mean? Oh, it's terrible. But AO were brilliant. Anyway, Curry's then took 2 weeks to pick my fridge up, and then they didn't refund us for months. Well, this was probably about 6 weeks we were trying to get a refund for, because months is like a month, 2 months ago total. And in the end, we had to phone our bank to do a chargeback because Curry's were not... Okay, it was eventually our bank gave us the money back, and goodness knows that they got the money from Curry's. But yeah, that was the story. And another thing happened, guys. The one weekend I was doing that mountain bike race that I talked about, so that was kind of weekend out. And I've just been busy with work and stuff. Like this, I'm planning to get this out on Saturday, the 10th of September. And I'm back at Sheffield University doing a master's module in medical prescribing. So that's kind of like a thing that I've just had a lot on, and all this stuff happening in my life. And also I've been working on Planet Coaster. I'm trying to make some Planet Coaster videos because I just felt like playing Planet Coaster. So that's all. And it's been summer. It's been a really nice summer. And so I wanted to make the most of summer, doing like activities like biking and kayaking and stuff, and you know. So yeah, Kerbal Space Program kind of took a bit of a backseat to that. And also, when I got my new PC, I was too scared to play a game on it. I was just like, I don't want to actually use this computer. I'm too scared. Because if it blue screens, I'm just going to have to call a priest. This house is haunted. Anyway, that's the Mun mission wrapped up, but the video is not wrapped up because I know what you guys are thinking. You want to see Lathe. You want to visit life on Lathe, right? I've got a base on Lathe. I've got rovers, planes. Let's go and check out what Lathe looks like with the Parallax 2 mod. Let's click on fly and load this up. Does seem to be taking a little while. Oh, oh no. Oh, that's not gonna buff out. It's just, it keeps going. Oh, is it? That could be repairable. I'm no architect, but hey, look at this grass though, eh? Doesn't that look nice? There's a survivor is there. Can we let's just time warp to the daytime. Maybe it looks better in the day, you know. Maybe it just looks like it's bad because it's nighttime. You can't really. Nah, it's still bad. The plane. It's well, there we are. That's right, guys. This was a Life on Lathe episode the entire time. It was the final episode of Life on Lathe, by the looks of things. We got the rover. It doesn't work. There's the wheel is broken. I do have repair kits, but they were on the base that just exploded. So and I have not the patience to locate a module that has some repair kits on board. So that's the rover out. I mean, I do have another rover. Do you remember that episode where I mined that whale skeleton? That rover is still there. Let's go check that out. I can just do a crossfade, and this is what happened as soon as I loaded that rover. It just flew into the air and slammed into the ground, much like the fate of that poor deceased whale over there. Yeah, I couldn't roll it over, unfortunately. I mean, I couldn't legitimately. I could use the mod vessel mover, because really, this video is a showcase of parallax 2, right? I feel like this is an acceptable use of vessel mover, because furthermore, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault, guys. It was the game. It was Games Link's. Guys, do not support his mod. He is responsible for the ending of life on Lathe. So there we are. But look, this rover at least has sort of survived. There's a beautiful shot of Jewel. I crashed into the spinal cord of the whale, which ain't good. We could. I'll just do another crossfade, and there we are. And yeah, I mean, I'm going at a fair old pace, but as you can see, this rover is fairly wide, fairly low, so it doesn't really flip over. So it's actually pretty safe to drive it at this speed. At this point, I think this is before I'd figured out how to turn collision mesh off. Like, I'm gonna have to be honest with you guys. When I showed how to turn collision mesh off, I'd actually already filmed this entire video. Oh, never mind. I'd actually already filmed this entire video, and then I found out, well, just as I was about to sit down and record this commentary, that you can disable collision mesh. So, welcome. This my grand return to KSP. Complete mess. And it's all thanks to these names on screen who support this content, my channel members and Patreon supporters who help me keep the lights on and the blue screens away. So thank you to all the names on screen. And if you want to, you could join if you want. There's videos on screen. I'm pretty tired now. I've laid my heart out for you guys, and I've run out of time.